Hello children, welcome to the online class of English Language and Literature class 10th. Today we will do chapter 2, Nelson Mandela, A Long Walk to Freedom. Before we begin with the explanation, let's know something about the author. Nelson Mandela was born on 18 July 1918 in the village of Wezo in the Eastern Cape. He served as President of South Africa from 1994 to 1999. His lifelong dedication to the fight against racial oppression in South Africa won him Nobel Peace Prize and the presidency of his country. A Long Walk to Freedom is the 1994 autobiography of Nelson Mandela, detailing his journey from an anti-apartheid activist to an African National Congress leader and a cultural icon. In South Africa, a brutal practice named apartheid was followed. It refers to the discrimination between people on the basis of their race. It was one of the most brutal societies where dark-skinned people were deprived of their basic rights. This autobiography illustrates and interprets the theme of a struggle for freedom. 10th May. It was the day when Nelson Mandela sworn in as the first black president of South Africa. It was after years of a struggle that his anti-racist party came into power. Until then, the seat had always been occupied by white presidents. That is why the author referred to the day as bright and clear. It was a morning full of hope. For the first time in the country's history, so many international leaders came together for their inauguration ceremony. The ceremony took place in an open circular building consisting of union buildings in the Pretoria city. The author was accompanied by his daughter Zinani on his big day. First, the two vice presidents took an oath. Then, when his turn came, he committed to respect, protect, and abide by the Constitution and to devote his entire self into the welfare of the country. The author also mentioned some part of his speech where he said that everyone by his presence was giving rise to hope for a new beginning. He thanked everyone, especially the international leaders, for joining them in celebrating their achievement, which is a step towards an equal society where every human will be treated fairly. He mentions that after great struggle, they have finally achieved political freedom. His government promised to free everyone of the still existing poverty, hardship, and inequalities of all kinds, along with assuring everyone of a country where no community will be considered inferior. He then exclaims that freedom should rule and may God shower his blessings on their land. Just after the president's addressal, an impressive arrangement of fighter jets, helicopter, and soldier transporters raised everyone's heads up in the sky. After the air show ended, the author remembers the day as the playing of two national anthems of the country, one of the whites and the other that of the blacks. On that day, no one knew the wordings of the national anthem of the blacks, but Mandela was confident that everyone would soon learn this anthem that they once hated. On the day of the inaugural ceremony, the author was remembering the days of past when this whole system of apartheid emerged. It resulted in inequality and inferior treatment of dark-skinned people. They were deprived of their basic fundamental rights. As a result, one of the world's most brutal and inhumane societies was born. This began even before he was born. The system created an atmosphere of extreme cruelty and injustice for a particular part of the community. Now, when he is in his 8th decade as a man, he, along with countless others, have changed this entire system that treats humans as humans, irrespective of their color, caste, gender, or age. This equal and free country was a result of sacrifices of countless other men and women who have fought all their lives for this day. The author wishes if he could thank them all, but unfortunately they didn't live to see the result of their courage. Nelson Mandela gathered his courage and power from all these people and thus wishes to make them proud. Nelson Mandela gained his strength to stand against the wrong from all the great nationalists. You can see their pictures on the screen, who have even risked their lives for freedom and tolerated ill treatment, but never stopped fighting. He learned that courage didn't mean the absence of fear, but the ability to overcome fear. The man who overcomes his fear is called brave. One is taught by its society to hate humans because of their skin, color, age, gender, and religion. No one is born with hatred. The author's idea is that if people can be taught hatred, they can also be taught love and brotherhood. In their most testing times in prison, when they were being treated brutally, Mandela would see a pinch of humanity and kindness in one of the guards, and that was enough to keep him going. He believes that goodness in human beings can be suppressed but never eliminated. Nelson Mandela joined the African National Congress, that is ANC, when he realized it is not only him whose basic rights were snatched away, but of all those who looked like him. He had this fire inside him to free his people from the injustice. It was this fire that changed the author completely as a man, from being scared to brave, a lawyer to the one breaking the law, a family man to a man without a home, and a lively man into being a monk. According to him, freedom cannot be divided. Snatching it away from some was equivalent to taking it away from everyone. Last but not the least, he mentions that the need to free the oppressor is as high as that of the oppressed, because the oppressor is bounded by the shackles of hatred. He has the weight of all the people who he has tormented, for he carries the curses of all of their families. For taking away someone else's freedom and making them a prisoner, he becomes a prisoner of biasness. Thus, he is robbed of his humanity and need to be freed. So students, this was the explanation of chapter 2, A Long Walk to Freedom. I have mentioned a short summary and exercises of this chapter in the worksheets that you are required to solve. Have a nice day, children. Thank you.